Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Marisa Williams, author of Eerily Easy English. And hopefully you have my book at home, but we're going to go through the ellipses portion. Ellipses known as the ... People love to misuse this. So there's a couple different ways you can use them, technically correct. The first is to show a pause, okay? Showing a pause. They call it a pregnant pause because it's usually a little longer than someone would typically take when they're stopping for a comma or a period. They say usually people take a breath when there's a comma or a period. But this extended pause can be used to show that someone is taking their time, such as when trying to find the right word not to offend someone or when someone is hesitating. So if I was going to say, maybe I saw a movie that I knew you really liked, but I didn't want to hurt your feelings, and I'm trying to think of the right word here, right? So I might say that movie was interesting, right? So that's showing that little ... of pause or hesitation where I'm trying to think of which word would not offend you, right? Next example, think of somebody walking into like an abandoned house, all right? She opened the door, walking into the darkness, and cried out, "Hello? Is there anyone here?" So again, that pause in between where she's kind of waiting for somebody to say hi back and she doesn't hear anything and she asks, "Is anyone here?" That's what that is showing, that pause, okay? So a little bit of a pregnant pause, a little longer than you'd take by just taking a quick breath, just kind of you're waiting for that response. Is anyone here? Okay. Next example, ellipses can also be used to show that text has been deleted. Another word for deleted is omitted. So a lot of times you'll see ellipses for omission or for things being omitted. That's the same as being deleted, okay? So this can be done to save space, or maybe it's cutting out irrelevant information, or maybe I just don't have room. Say I find a full quote of something and maybe I don't have room. So let's look, say maybe I see this whole big thing, but I don't have room, okay? So I'm gonna show you what it looks like. Okay, so let's say the full paragraph would be this. I'm gonna read it. "Though people like to tell stories of Bathory being a lesbian vampire, there is very little evidence to support such wild tales. There have been accounts of her husband, Ferenc Nadasti, playing soccer with severed heads of his enemies after battles. But people try to claim that after his death, she became a mad dominatrix. In reality, her husband entrusted his friend Yuro Thurzo to take care of his widow and heirs after his death. The land that Bathory owned was strategically important, making it a great piece of land to own. It is awfully convenient that Thurzo not only claimed to have caught Bathory red-handed, but then he became the judge at her case, which was not a typical trial, as she was not able to defend herself. Thurzo convinced the king that a normal trial would adversely affect the noble classes, and it was in his best interest to not have her land seized by the crown due to its location and the fact that he was due to inherit it. So was she a lesbian vampire or simply a widow woman set up to have her land and life taken from her when she did not comply? So that's the whole paragraph, and it's a big one. Maybe I don't have room for that whole thing. Maybe in my paper I'm going to use a ... okay? So this is how I could do it. Though people like to tell stories of Bathory being a lesbian vampire, there is very little evidence to support such wild tales ... Maybe I didn't have room for the rest of it. Maybe that's just the point I wanted to make, okay? So again, two different ways ellipses can be used, either to show a pause or to kind of show that something is being deleted or omitted. There's something more there, but you just didn't have room for it. So that's the ... of the ellipses. I know a lot of people love to confuse them, but hopefully that kind of clarifies that for you a little bit more. Thanks again for joining us, and we hope to see you again.